Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Walk podcast. I hope that you're all doing well. If you're new here, my name is Sam, and this channel is basically just a little video diary of my life. I post about all things faith, travel, fashion, lifestyle, just kind of whatever I'm feeling that day. So if you are new here, I hope that you enjoy your time here. And let's just get into it. As you can tell, this setup is extremely Christmased out. It's one of the perks about having a podcast that is only on YouTube because it's just visual, so you can see the things that I'm talking about. Side note about that, I did talk to the person that I work with to get my other videos on my other channel on Spotify. And I just asked about, getting this podcast on Spotify, and they said they don't really handle like lifestyle, like kind of like regular podcasts. It's more just ASMR stuff. But they gave me a name of like a company to try. So it's something I'm thinking about, just so that you guys are aware in case you were wondering. But for now, we're just chilling with the walk on YouTube. Also, side note, if you hear like a ticking, like a timer, can you hear that? I don't know. I have salmon in the oven for dinner later. So that's what you hear. It's going to go off soon. I actually smell it. It smells really good. But if you're wondering what that ticking is, that's what it is. It's only going to be here in the beginning of the video, and then it's going to stop. So anyway, as you can tell, we're going to be having a little holiday episode. If you know me, you know this is my favorite time of year. I have been enjoying the holiday season so much this year, but it's also going by so fast. I think from the day I am recording this, I think Christmas is in 13 days or something like that. So less than 2 weeks away, which is so wild. I feel like it was just the middle of November, but that's how it always goes every year, right? It just goes by. And I remember when I was younger, someone told me like the older you get, the faster it's going to go by. And that is so true. But anyway, I have rambled on 6 different tangents so far, but that's what this video is going to be. It's planned, but also it's pretty unplanned. We're just going to have a cozy kind of chit chat sort of video, where we talk about holiday plans, some of my like family traditions, just thoughts I have going into the holiday season this year, maybe comparing it a little bit to last holiday season. And then the later half of the video is going to be a Q&A. I went on Instagram and asked you guys to send me some holiday themed questions. So it's going to be very chill. So I hope that you will sit down with me for the next 45 minutes, hour, or however long this video is going to be. And I hope you'll just hang out with me, grab a fun, cozy little drink, or don't. I don't know, whatever you want to do. But we're just going to hang out. So I know, I said in the beginning that this is one of my favorite times of year, and it is, but I also want to acknowledge and recognize that for a lot of people, it is actually the hardest time of year, whether it's because you lost loved ones or, maybe you don't have a good relationship with the people that you once did, so you feel kind of lonely. I just want to acknowledge that, and I want you to know that I see you. I wish I could be, there with you. I wish we could all kind of hang out. But I hope that this video will bring you a little bit of comfort and, a little bit of company if you need it. So that's why I said grab a drink and let's just kind of hang out. So I will say, even though I grew up with divorced parents, they got divorced when I was very, very young, I still had a really good childhood, really good holiday seasons. I was really blessed in that way. So typically what's kind of always been the tradition for the most part, at least for as long as I can remember, maybe it was different when I was younger, but I always remember doing like Christmas Eve with my dad's side and then Christmas Day with my mom's side, usually, unless somebody was traveling somewhere and, maybe it was a little different one year or another. But for the most part, that was the tradition. So that's what I'm doing this year, and we'll get into holiday plans in a little bit. But I wanted to talk about some funny memories that I have from my childhood and just ways that my family and my parents, really made the magic of Christmas come alive. So one that really sticks out, I think this is my first like Christmas kind of holiday magic story. And if you've been with me for years, maybe you might recognize one or two of these stories. But the first thing I remember, I think I was around 4 or 5. And at that point in my life, my mom and I lived with my aunt and 2 of my cousins. So it was the 5 of us in one apartment. I think it was like a 2-bedroom apartment, or maybe 3. I don't remember, but it was a pretty small apartment for the 5 of us. But anyway, this was the time of like camcorders and VHS tapes and all the things. So this was probably what, 2000 maybe, around the year 2000. And so my mom and my aunt did this for my cousins and I. They set up the video camera in the corner of the living room, and they basically had it so they told us that they put it up so that they could like spy on Santa when he came and gave us our presents. And what really it was my mom videotaping and my aunt, or was it my mom? I don't remember. One of the two. One of the women was holding the video camera and the other one put on a Santa suit. And obviously all you see is their back. But in the video, Santa is putting the gifts under the tree. So in the morning, we woke up and they were like, kids, we have something so exciting to show you. Santa came. And they played the video for us. And of course, you can imagine our minds were absolutely blown. Our little kid brains just exploded. And we were like, oh my goodness, we're looking at Santa right now. And we're going to talk a little bit more about like Santa and that kind of thing later in the video. But for our 4-year-old little brains, I was probably 4. So that means that Ciara was 7 and CJ was 10, 9, something like that. Rough estimate. But so we were all still young enough to have our minds blown. Maybe not so much CJ, but me and Ciara were like, what? Ciara is my cousin that was in my Seattle vlog. If you watched that, you know Ciara. So that's one memory. Another one was on my dad's side. And when I was younger, I would guess I was maybe like 6 or 7. I had dinner at my grandmother's house with my dad and my aunt pretty much like 4 or 5 days a week. My dad lived 2 houses down from my grandma, from my nonna's house. And so we would just walk over every day. It was amazing. It was I love the idea of like families living on the same street and just being able to walk there. That it's like goals to me. But anyway, so we would have dinner at my nonna's every day. And it was a kind of like a 2-family house sort of situation. And next door, we had a neighbor, and his name was Egidio. He was an older Italian man. He still lives there to this day. And just so sweet. He lives alone. He used to have a parrot and a cat that I would help babysit when he was away, because he would go to Italy every summer. And then he'd come back, whatever. So I would help like babysit his animals. Sweet little old man. Anyway, my dad and my aunt, to this day, I still don't know whose idea it was, but they coordinated with Egidio one day that during dinner, they were going to make it so that I heard Santa and the reindeers on the roof during dinner. So that must have been like the week before Christmas, maybe the day before or 2 days before. And so they somehow, I think they maybe gave Egidio a key or like left the door unlocked upstairs because it was a multi-floor house. And he came in and just had bells and just like jingled them really quickly. And then I guess just left. He like skirted and went back to his house. And so of course I hear it and I'm like, and I was a very quiet kid at this time, but I think like my excitement still like came out. And I was like, what was that? And of course my family is like hyping it up. They're like, what was that? Did you hear that? It sounded like a reindeer. And so, of course, I went to investigate. They were like, go, Sam, like go check it out. Go upstairs, see what it is. And from what I remember, I think I went upstairs and I think there were presents there by the door. If I remember, again, I was so young, but I think that that's what happened. Uh, and it was just so fun to me. It was like, wow, like Santa was here, you know? I wonder if my parents like coordinated, like, hey, I'm gonna do this. Because if I might have been like a really spoiled kid if they like did it the same year and I thought Santa was visiting me like 3 times. But anyway, that was another really good story. What else? When it was just me and my mom, so I think I might have been around 10 years old, maybe. It was just me and my mom in a 1-bedroom apartment. And, it was an apartment. So there wasn't a house, there was no fireplace. And, Santa always comes down the fireplace. That's what you're taught when you're younger. And we had it was like a fake fireplace that my mom bought somewhere, but it was like not even like an electric one. It was a cardboard fireplace. And, like it wasn't that good, but it was, it looked like a fireplace. And my thing was that I always, instead of putting milk in cookies, I would put milk and red and green M&Ms in a bowl for Santa. That was my thing. And little baby carrots for Rudolph. And one year I woke up on Christmas morning, and I really got to give it to my mom. I don't know if she's watched a couple of these podcast episodes. I don't know if she still does, but if you're watching, I mean, you were a real one, because for a single mom to really like hype it up for your kid, I give her credit. She found these like decal footprints that were meant to look like Santa's footprints, and in the sole of the shoe it like said ho 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 on them. And so she put the decals on the floor, like leading out of the fireplace, like to the Christmas tree, and they were white, so it was meant to look like snow prints kind of. And so maybe I was definitely younger than 10 then. I must have been like 7. I was younger. But she set that up for me so that in the morning it looked like, Santa had left footprints behind, and the M&Ms were gone and the carrots were gone and blah, 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 blah. And, and I was young enough to where like I believed it. And, it just made the day so like magical, So those are 3 memories that really stand out to me. And I remember, I don't know what order in which my friends and I like learned that Santa wasn't real. But I remember one of my best friends at the time in elementary school, she believed, man, up until she was like 12 or 13. I found out when I was 9. But yeah, my friend she really was just like, she was stuck on like, no, Santa, like she would get upset. She'd be like, no, like it's a thing, like Santa's real. And I'd be like, dude, like, no, like you're wrong. I just remember that. That's funny. But that's a really weird time for kids, because it's a really big bomb that your parents, drop on you. And a lot of times like kids ruin it for other kids, and it could get a little bit messy. But my family really, like, they were really good, like, to us kids, and really hyped it up for us. My sister's 10 years younger than me, and so she was of the age of like Elf on the Shelf, which, if you don't know, it's like a little elf doll that is essentially supposed to be like one of Santa's helpers. And so he comes to you around like the beginning of December, and he lives in your house up until Christmas, and he's supposed to watch the kids to tell Santa if they're good or not. But the funny thing about the elves on the shelves is that the parents are supposed to every day put him in a different spot of the house, so it looks like, it's alive and it's moving. But the kid, I'm pretty sure, isn't allowed to touch the elf ever. It's like a rule that they learn when the elf first comes. And my dad and my stepmom used to get so creative. They would hang him from the ceiling fan. They would put him in the kitchen, like, with food. Really, like, if you go on like TikTok and you look up like Elf on the Shelf, you'll see all the things. Like, people just get so creative. It looks like there's nothing in here. I swear there's stuff in here. It's just that it's red, so you can't see. Anyway. So if you guys have kids, I would love to know what you do to, like, make the magic come alive, or if you want to share any of your childhood memories down below, I would love to read them. Did I write anything else down? I did have like a couple notes. I did want to write down, or I did write down that I wanted to share that another tradition my mom and I did is, and I should have brought one to show you, but personalized ornaments. Do you guys remember they were like kiosks in the mall, and you could like pick any design and then they would write your name on it and the year. I have one of like best friends forever, my friends from college, with all of our names on it and the year. I have a horse one because I went through a phase where I was like obsessed with horses. I thought I was going to be an equestrian. I don't know. But I have a horse one that says my name and it says like 2007. And that was a big thing. Every year we would get like one or two. And even to this day, like my mom and I always had the tradition of whenever we traveled somewhere, we would get one ornament, like at least one new ornament a year, if not more, from the places we traveled or the things that we did. And I still do that. And now that I have my own Christmas tree, this is my second year with this Christmas tree. And everywhere, like when I went to Washington, I got one. When I went to, where else did I go? I don't know. I have one from California. I have one from, when I went to LA and blah, 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 blah. So I still keep that tradition alive. And that is a tradition that I want to continue, like, as I get older, as I have kids, ornaments. I think your Christmas tree should have some personality, I think, in my opinion, and some memories, because I love that everyone's Christmas tree is completely different, and I think it's like a fingerprint. Like every tree is different, and that kind of like represents who you are as a person, or who you are as like your one household, So I just love that idea. So that's something that I'm definitely going to continue as I get older. I'm a big like tradition girl. Like I love, and we'll get into traditions in a little bit. I think that's actually the next thing I'm going to talk about, but it just gives you something to look forward to every year. And I love that every family has different traditions, and especially of different like nationalities and different backgrounds, and just everybody's different. Everybody's holiday season looks different. And I think that that's so beautiful. So like, for example, and we'll get into like my holiday plans this year. And one of the first things already happened is the tradition that we have on my dad's side and the Italian side, which every year, 2-3 weeks before Christmas, we get together and we make crostoli. Now, crostoli is an Italian thing, and it looks different for every Italian family. It also depends on like where you're from in Italy and blah, 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 blah. But my grandmother brought the recipe over from Italy, and crostoli is essentially, it's dough, it's fried dough. You make the dough from scratch. You essentially make it the way you would make pasta dough from scratch. But our recipe has white wine in the dough as well. So it's got like a little sweet kind of taste to it. And she did have a written down recipe kind of, but she had it, like she knew it by heart, and she would write it down, not in exact measurements that a chef normally would. It was just like in Italian, but she would put like a little glass of this and a little pinch of this, and that's where my dad gets it from. My dad is a chef, if you didn't know, and he very rarely, I think, cooks with a recipe, so that's where he gets it from. But my dad, having his chef knowledge, has since taken her recipe and converted it, 1, to English, and 2, into exact measurements, because it's a recipe that I want one day, because, many, many years from now, God willing, many, 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 many years from now, when I am much, much older and my parents are gone, and, I have my own family and I have grandkids, it's something that I want to do every single year of my life. That's my goal. I have done it every single year since I've been born. I'm pretty sure. Maybe we missed 1 year, but honestly, probably not. And we get together and we do it, and that's something that I want to continue. But we did it this past Sunday. So essentially you make the dough in advance. My dad makes the dough, and then when it sets, we cut it up. We have like a pasta roller, one of those rollers, and you roll it through. You make it nice and thin. You cut it into different shapes, different ribbons. You tie it together, and then you fry it just for a minute a piece. And then once they cool, we make big batches of it, because the whole thing is you make the crostoli in advance, and then in the weeks leading up to Christmas, you make plates for your neighbors and your loved ones and your family and et cetera, to pass out to people that you love. So to make the plate, you put a bunch of crostoli, and I should have brought some to show you, but I have some in my cabinet. You make a plate, you heat up some honey, drizzle the honey over the top, and then you put sprinkles on top of it, and that's how you would serve it to people. They would also, when my grandparents were alive and they hosted Christmas parties, that's what they would do. They would make a plate of it, put it on the table for everybody to have after dinner. So it's one of my favorite traditions, if not my favorite tradition ever. And we just did it. And so when I go to my dad's on Christmas Eve, I will dress a plate and I'll bring it to my mom's, because my mom also really loves it. So it's just a beautiful thing. And I think it'll always remind me of my nonna. It reminds, every time we do it, she passed away 4 years ago, and every time we do it, we still talk about her, and I still imagine her, making me a little sad. I imagine her sitting next to me, making it with us. So anyway, sorry. They're happy tears though, because the tradition keeps her alive with us, So anyway, wasn't expecting that. Okay. Anyway, so plans for this holiday season. I mean, I kind of already talked about it, but Christmas Eve. So my church is actually doing a bunch of services, and it's my first Christmas season at this church. So they're doing a service Saturday, because Christmas Day is Monday. So they're doing a service Saturday evening, and then a Sunday service. I think they have 3 different services on Sunday, and then they do have a Christmas Day service. So I don't know if I'm going to go to the Saturday one. I definitely will be at church Christmas Eve, and then right after church on Christmas Eve, I will go to my dad's and do big dinner and presents with them, and we usually play Uno and just play games, or watch a Christmas movie or something like that. And they live very close to me, so I can hang out super late and then just come home at night, So that'll be very fun. And then I think Christmas Day, I'm just going to wake up super early, and I don't think I'm going to go to church Christmas Day, just because I'm going Christmas Eve. So I think I'm just going to go up straight to my mom's, and I'll just spend the day there, probably stay the night there. Seeing as how I live alone, if I don't have to be alone on Christmas Day, not that there's anything wrong with it, but if I don't have to be alone for long on Christmas Day, I'd rather not be. I think it's a day to just be with your loved ones and your friends and your family, if you can be. So yeah, I'm gonna wake up, get ready, and just go straight there, I think. And I think my aunt, my cousins usually come over to my mom's, and we exchange gifts, and it's always different. We used to always do gifts early in the morning, but that's when I lived there. I remember last year we didn't do gifts until 9 o'clock at night. So it's always different, I guess, but it's always just so fun to give them gifts. And my stepdad, you could give him a pencil and he'd be like, "Oh my gosh, I love it." It's just fun. I'm not getting him a pencil. I got him some really nice stuff, but yeah, I just really look forward to it. But then I get really sad, because once the holiday season is over, it's I have to wait a whole year to experience my favorite time of year again, because it just goes so fast. And that's why this year I tried to do holiday shopping earlier, because as I get closer to Christmas, I just want to enjoy it. My dad, God bless him, he always goes Christmas shopping within the week that Christmas is coming. He'll start shopping the 20th. And it's stressful, I mean, we've all done it. I've been there. It's stressful. That's why I don't do it anymore. I want to enjoy the days leading up to Christmas, So I'm almost done. I think I just have my dad, who is, I'm not even kidding, the hardest person in the entire world to shop for. He's always last. And my stepmom and my aunt. And I literally think I have everybody else. So I did really good this year. And I'm happy. Just if you know about what's going on with my car stuff, I'm glad I just got that all out of the way before, so now I can mostly focus on the car stuff. But anyway, so yeah, that's kind of what my holiday season usually looks like. And I've been really reflecting, and I don't remember if I said this to you guys or not in another episode. I don't remember, but I've been really reflecting on like the differences of last holiday season and this holiday season, because man, it's like night and day. Last holiday season, I really didn't get to enjoy Christmas last year. I really didn't. It was I think a week or so before Christmas is when I found out things in my relationship that I was not aware of, and there was just there was a real heaviness on me, and I kept it all inside. I didn't tell anyone. My family didn't, like, nobody knew. My mom knew a little bit, but not really. And that was my fault. That was my choice. I kept it in. And I hid it pretty well from everyone, but inside it was not a good time for me. I had a lot of other things on my mind rather than enjoying time with loved ones. And I was very good at faking it, but this year, having to not fake it and just genuinely be happy and like filled with joy and excitement, and it's just so much better. And it's funny, my dad the other day when we were making the crostoli, it was him and I in the kitchen, and we were talking about like the holiday season, and he was like, I was gonna ask like if you feel sad this year. And I was like, why? Because I'm single? I was like, no, honestly, I feel so much joy. I was so excited going into this holiday season to really fully enjoy it. And it's okay that I'm single. I'm not one of those people where being single on a holiday makes me feel bad. It really doesn't. If anything, it gives me more undivided attention for I can give my undivided attention to my friends and my family, and I can spend more time with them. And I don't know. I feel a lot of joy. Like, I'm not upset. I'm not sad. I don't feel lonely. And I think it's just because in comparison to last year, it's just like night and day. And yeah, I've really been able to enjoy it. I'm enjoying it with new friends. I have a Christmas party next week with the young adult group at church. So all new friends that I've met literally within the last 2 months, most of them, I think. So very new friendships, but we're having like an ugly sweater, white elephant party, and it's going to be great, and it's going to be fun. And, it's all about making new memories and really happy memories. And, yeah, I'm just in a really good place. So what do you guys, actually, before I go into the Q&A, because I was going to say, what do you guys think we jump into the questions? But the last thing I wanted to talk about briefly, because I said we were going to talk about Santa again, was I've been seeing so many debates over, like, on the internet about Santa, and when you have kids, are you going to invite them to believe in Santa, or are you not going to do the Santa thing? And honestly, they're all really good arguments. So I wanted to talk about it for a second and also get like your input, because I'm curious. So you guys know I'm a Christian, so I know the true meaning of Christmas, and I grew up with Santa, in my life, and even still I grew up knowing the real meaning of Christmas, and that's celebrating the birth of Jesus. So, I am a testament of, I had both, and I ended up okay. I can still recognize the real meaning of Christmas. And I have one coworker who, I love him, but he always says, Christmas is a made up holiday, and it's not Jesus's real birthday, and blah, 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 blah. And that may be true. I have read that Jesus wasn't born on December 25th. But it doesn't matter. I think Christmas just symbolizes the story of Jesus and his birth, and that's what's important. Like with anything, what's important is the intention behind it. And so I'm very careful now. Like this year, I'm reading the book of Luke. I'm reading a chapter a day because there's 24 chapters. So by the time Christmas Eve comes, I'll have read the whole thing leading up to Christmas, reading the whole, it starts from when he was born and goes through his whole life, as a way to honor him, and as a way to remind myself of what the real meaning of Christmas is. So with that being said, like, I've heard on one side, a lot of Christians being like, well, I'm not going to introduce my children to Santa because that's not what Christmas is about. And I get that. I do. Me personally, I don't know what I'm going to do with my kids yet. I don't even have a man, so it's a little premature for me to be thinking about that. But I don't know what I would do. I there is something beautiful about having like this magic of Christmas, but there is also the side where you want to make your kids aware of what the real meaning of Christmas is. And also I've heard a lot of parents say, you know, I work hard to get my kids these gifts. I don't want them to think that it's Santa getting them the most expensive gifts. Like, I'm working hard for it. You know, I want them to thank me. And that is such a valid argument. So like, I think if I were to do Santa, like, the big gifts can come from me, and then maybe Santa will be like the stocking stuffers or like something like that. But then it becomes dangerous because then they get to school and Santa buys them their friend a new iPad, and it's like, wow, Santa bought me a pack of gum. Santa got me socks. You know, like, am I not good enough? That's where like school and like sending your kids out in the world can get pretty hard and pretty interesting. Because on the other side, I always think, well, say I don't introduce my kids to this idea of Santa. I don't want them to go to school and ruin it for other kids and go around telling people that they're wrong for believing in Santa, because for some people aren't Christians, and so they're taught that Santa is what Christmas is about. And you know, that's their business. That's their family's choice, and they're not wrong for that. That's just the way that they were being raised. And so I don't want my kid to be ruining it for others and making other kids cry, and then the other kids' parents get upset, and then they're calling me, and then, you know, it's very hard, especially when kids are like 6 years old. They don't have a filter. They're just they regurgitate everything that they hear at home. So it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one. So it's something that I think about often. And again, kids are I think, pretty far off. Hopefully not that far off, but like a couple years away for me. So I have time to think about it. But it's just very interesting. So if you have kids, especially because I'm a Christian, right? So if you're a Christian, I'm curious to see like what your approach to doing things was or is with your kids, or will be if you're planning on having kids soon or whatever. I'm just very curious because I see such a valid arguments for both, you know, and I would hate for my kids' friends to be doing fun things together, but then my kid isn't allowed or doesn't, you know, engage in the same thing, so then they feel like they can't have as much fun. I don't know. It's you know, I see sides for both. And I also would love to do the elf on the shelf thing as a parent, because it'd be so fun to like get creative and like do things. But of course, I always want my kids to know about Jesus, and that being the first and most important thing. But I think there is also room for other like American Christmas traditions. You know, as long as you make Jesus first and then everything else afterwards, I don't know. I think there is room. But again, I have a long time to figure it out. But I am very curious to hear your thoughts. Okay, let's get into the questions, shall we? Because I feel like I've been talking for a while. So I have on my Instagram story, I said I was filming a podcast episode today. And so I have a bunch of questions, as you can see. So I did kind of scan through them a little bit, and some of them are like not Christmas related at all. So I'm going to save those for another video, or just kind of skip over them for now. It's not that I don't see them or I'm ignoring you. It's just that I think some people didn't realize that it was going to be like Christmas and holiday themed video. So some of the questions like wouldn't really make sense in this video, but I'm sure there will be things that I will answer in the future. Okay? So I'm just going to go in a random order. Let's see. Would you ever go on vacation for the holidays? I would. I have never done it, I don't think. I think I've always been home in my home state, right? But yeah, I have never done it, but I would do it. I think I would do it. It's hard for me because if I go away with mom's side or with dad's side, then I'm leaving the other side hanging. And that means that they get the short of the end of the stick because they don't get to see me for the holidays. I feel like if I was older and I was like married with kids, maybe I'd do it for like a year with like my little family. But it's hard for me like right now to like pick sides to like travel with. I will say though, this year was the first time I ever traveled somewhere warm in the summer. I went to Mexico in February, and it was so cool to know that it was February and I was sitting in like 90-degree weather on the beach. Like, it was really cool. I really enjoyed that. So yeah, I would definitely never say never. I don't have plans to do it currently, and I have never done it, but I probably would maybe one day in the future. But there's also something about being in your cozy little home with your Christmas tree for the holidays. But I would do it for like a year. This is a good one. Do you get a gift for every member of your family? So on my dad's side, yes, but there's also not that many of us. It's my dad, my stepmom, me, my sister, my aunt. That's really it. We have family friends that will come and occasionally and like spend the day with us, but for the most part, like, my family, it's just the five of us. So yeah, we all get everybody something. My mom's side is a little bit bigger. Still not that big, but it's a little bit bigger. And we used to do the thing where, this is when like all my aunts and my uncle came over and all my cousins, and we would do the thing where we tried to do white elephant one year, so we all had to only purchase one gift. But even when I do that, of course I'm gonna get my mom. I can't not get my mom something for Christmas, and then I have to get my stepdad something, and then and then my step siblings. So I feel like we have tried that, and it just doesn't work, because then people end up getting a white elephant gift, but then they feel bad for not getting other people things, so then they end up getting gifts for everyone. So we kind of did away with that. So I pretty much, yeah, if I know that you're going to be with us on the holiday, if you're going to be at my mom's house or whatever, I will get you something, because there's nothing worse, and it has happened to me, there is nothing worse than somebody that you don't expect getting you a gift and you have nothing for them. It is the worst thing. I remember one year I got a gift from somebody at my mom's house and I had nothing for them, and I ran upstairs. My mom has this little closet in the bathroom with like candles and bath sets that we never used, and I like found one that hadn't been opened, and I like wrapped it and like gave it to them. But it was awkward, and I think that they could tell that it was a last minute gift, and yeah. So I have learned my lesson, and I don't do that anymore. Even if it's something small, like getting my aunt like a candle from Bath and Body Works, but at least I have something to give her that she could take home and use. So yeah, this year I think I pretty much have I have my step siblings, I got my cousins something, I got, I pretty much, I got everybody. So, things that are better during the holiday season when you're single. I mean, I think the biggest thing is it's harder when you're in a relationship, because I did it the past 2 years, when you're in a relationship, to divide your time between your family and like your partner's family. If you're in the early stages of dating, I don't think you need to be together on Christmas and Thanksgiving. But when you've been together for like a little longer, a year or two, then yeah, that's natural that you're going to want to split your time. Oh, I just spilled a little bit of this. Whoops. So that was always challenging, and it's extra challenging for me because I have two sides. So it's not just splitting one with my family and your family, it's splitting between three. So it's 3 households. So that was, I remember last year was like kind of stressful about it too. And like, yeah, we had been together for 2 years. So like, of course, like I wanted him to come spend some time with my family, but then he had his family, and it, it's hard. It's hard. That's the easiest thing. So, or that's the hardest thing. So I think this year, that's the biggest difference of like, it's so much easier for me to plan my time. And I was talking to my dad about it, and he was like, honestly though, like when you are in a really good relationship, like that's a good problem to have. And I agree, it is. But I'm happy this year to not have to deal with it, if I'm being honest with you. Again, it is a good problem to have. It's a great thing that you have multiple, that's a blessing to have multiple households to go to that's going to invite you in and feed you and give you drinks and you exchange presents and all the things. But, I'm not mad at skipping a year of that. Who knows what next year will bring, but right now I'm okay. Okay, let's see. What type of drink do you have on the holidays? If we're talking like drink, we love coquito in my house. I can't drink a lot of it because it's really heavy and my tummy don't like it all the time. But like a glass of it here and there, yes, love it. I hate eggnog. And you're probably like, Sam, they're kind of similar. I Can't do eggnog. It actually kind of grosses me out a little bit. Like any holiday, you guys know I love my white wine. So during dinner, I'll usually have wine. One year, my mom really likes bellinis, which is like champagne and peach juice or like cranberry juice, either one. She loves those. So one year we just made a bunch of those and we drank them in champagne flutes. And because champagne flutes aren't like, they don't hold that much. So we were really just gonna drinking a lot of them, but they're so good. And I think my mom put like actual cranberries in them for like garnish. Those were cute. We did that one year. My coworker is actually selling coquito, so I'm buying a bottle from her, and I think I'm gonna try to save it and bring it home for Christmas to my mom's. So yeah, let's see what else. What gifts are you excited to give this year? Okay, so I don't really think anyone in my family is gonna watch this. I hope not. If any of you are here, please turn away at this moment. I think the top of my list that I'm so excited to give is my cousin Sierra. My cousin and I love boy bands, Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, all the things. 98 Degrees, like all the 90s bands. And her and I, our first concert ever was NSYNC. I was 4 and she was 7. Why they took me to an NSYNC concert at 4 or 5 years old, I don't know. I had earplugs. I do have vague memories of it. I remember the big teddy bear. I remember the strings. I remember all of it. And that was our first concert. So I found, honestly, through TikTok Shop, it's the first and only thing, and hopefully last thing I ever buy on TikTok Shop, but it is a Christmas sweater of a picture from the 90s of NSYNC, like the boy band. It's iconic, and I loved it so much that I bought one for myself as well. And I told her when I saw her last, I said, I just want you to know that I bought your Christmas gift and I loved it so much. I bought myself one. And that's all I said. So I think she's very excited. I'm just so excited to see her reaction. I know her so well and I think she's really gonna love it. So I think that's like the one that I'm the most excited. Also, I got my stepbrother. My stepbrother really likes beer. Like every time he goes somewhere, he likes to try their IPA from that place or that state. When we did the cross country trip, he was buying like boxes of IPAs everywhere. So I bought him this like beer making kit that I found just so he could try to make his own beer. And it's like an IPA type because they had different types of beer that you can make. And that one's an IPA. And I don't know. He's either going to hate it and not use it or he's going to really like it. I hope he uses it. I like to get really like personalized gifts for people. Like something like I saw this and it made me think of you or, whatever. I also got my best friend and my coworker, Marissa, a locket from Etsy. I had it custom made and has an M on it for her name. And then inside is a picture of her and her dog. She has a dog named Honey and Honey is beautiful. And every time I come over, she'll be like, Zia's here. Because Zia is in Italian. So she refers to me as Zia for the dog. Because we're extra like that. So I think she's really going to like that. So those are just a few things. I got my mom a new work bag because she really wanted one. So little things like that. But the NSYNC Christmas sweater, I need to wear that in a video so that you guys can see it. It's just so iconic and I'm so excited. And I haven't been like wearing it. I haven't posted it anywhere because I don't want her to see it and like want it and then go buy it, So, but I love it. Okay. Let's see. A lot of these I answered, like, what's your favorite Christmas memory? Do you like eggnog? Someone says, what does a religious Christmas look like? Oh, I like the way they said that. It says, what does a religious Christmas look like for you? I mean, I kind of said it, Christmas to me is first recognizing that it is about celebrating the birth of Jesus, and I will be going to church. Yeah, I feel like I kind of answered that. I mean, it's not that different. I still gather with my friends and my family, and I still have drinks and exchange gifts and have really good food. And the only probably big difference is that we pray before our meal. Usually when I go to my dad's house, they ask me to pray, and then at home, my mom usually prays. And, I'm going to go to church. But other than that, it's not too different. And I'm reading the Bible up until I mean, I read the Bible every day anyway, but I'm reading the book of Luke leading up to Christmas, so it's not that different, really. Favorite Christmas movies, Elf will always be top notch for me. I haven't watched it yet this year, and I really need to. It is such an iconic movie. There are just so many good lines. So Elf is up there. Jim Carrey's The Grinch Stole Christmas. It's a really good one. I saw the Home Alone movies for the first time last year. I know I'm a really late bloomer. I really did like them, like the first two. I have no interest in watching the other ones, but they were really cute. I liked them more than I expected to. I like Four Christmases with Vince Vaughn and Reese Witherspoon, I believe. Vince Vaughn is just really funny. So those are a few. Let's see. Favorite Christmas song. I haven't really been listening to Christmas music this year, if I'm being honest. There's always that one radio station that plays Christmas music from Thanksgiving to New Year's. But I haven't put it on lately. Let's see. Activity that puts you in the holiday mood. Making grostoli is a big one. Decorating my apartment. Helping my mom decorate her house. Watching Christmas movies. Breaking out the Christmas pajama pants. Things like that. My least favorite part of the holidays, how expensive it is. It's the most expensive time of year, but it's okay. What's one food you add to your Christmas dinner that's not commonly there? I mean, at my mom's, they make bedni, which is pork, essentially. We also do ham. I don't know is that common? That's common. But bedni is definitely different. Yeah, probably that. Let's see. Favorite line from a Christmas movie. That's a tough one. It's definitely something. I was gonna say it's probably from Elf, but no, it's either Elf or The Grinch, because The Grinch has very iconic ones. Marissa and I are always like exchanging quotes back and forth to each other, like when he's trying on clothes and he's like, ooh, ah, ooh. That's it, I'm not going. We do that all the time. Or like, Max, get my cloak. Or just like things like that. It's probably something from The Grinch, actually. Like Elf has really good ones too. But I don't know, Grinch might take it for me. I love from Elf though, Wally, I think, the whale in the beginning. Bye, buddy. Hope you find your dad. I don't know why. It's not even funny, but just, I don't know. I feel like my friends and I say that to each other sometimes. I don't know. Okay. Let's just do a couple more, because I feel like I've been talking for a year and a half, even though I don't really think it's been that long. But anyway. Have you ever been ice skating? Yes, many times. It's been a while, though. Funny ice skating story for you really quick. When I was younger, I was probably 12. I had braces still, and my aunt took me and my cousin Ciara ice skating, and we had gone around so many times. No one fell. Everything was good. And then at the end, my aunt was like, do it one more time. Go around one more time. And we were like, okay. And I was halfway back, and I fell so hard on my face. Not to get like too graphic, I'm sorry, but my bracket of my braces went like into my gums. Somehow I didn't chip a tooth, but my lip I had to drink out of a straw for like a week. My lip was huge. It was awful. I had to go to the dentist and like get the whole situation fixed. It was a nightmare, and my aunt was so scared to tell my mom. That's her sister. She was so scared to tell her what happened, because my mom was at work at the time. I think it was like Christmas break, and my mom was at work, so my aunt like took us out, and yeah. But I lived to tell the story. I remember we went to Applebee's after, and that's where they broke the news to my mom on the phone. Great time. Okay. A lot of these are repeats. How are you increasing the presence of Jesus into Christmas this year? I kind of, like I said, reading the book of Luke. I shared it on my Instagram, and a lot of you are actually doing it with me, which is really cool. Going to church, but I always go to church every year for Christmas. And like making, like I'm gonna read the book of Luke in a video on my other channel. like the week of Christmas, I think. So just little things like that. But more than like putting it online or on TikTok or on YouTube, it's more that it's more important that I implement it like in my heart for myself. But then after that, I like to share things with you guys. Actually, I didn't even realize there are a lot of questions about like, should we tell our kids about Santa? That's your decision, but I told you guys some of my thoughts that I have going through my head. Let's see. What foods or spirits of your Puerto Rican heritage do you eat or drink? I kind of mentioned that, the coquito and the pernil. My mom used to make flan, but not a lot of people in my family like flan. I've never liked flan, but apparently my mom makes a really good one. I just can't tell because I just don't really like it regardless. But all right, what traditions do you plan on passing down when you start your own family? It's definitely the crostoli, and like I said, like the getting one new ornament a year. But I definitely want to come up with other traditions again when the time comes. So I'm not thinking about it yet. Again, long time away. But I think every family, like when you have your own kids, like just I think naturally new traditions will just form. But I definitely like my children will be making crostoli one day. Like it's a non-negotiable. That'll be happening. Yeah. So I feel like I have rambled for quite a while. This video is probably 45 minutes. So thank you for being here. Again, I know, I hope I never want to come across as like insensitive. Like I'm talking about how much I love this time of year when I'm sure some of you watching this don't get to enjoy the season as much, or you actually dread this time of year. And so I hope I'm really not coming across as insensitive. I really wanted to make this video just to give us an opportunity to hang out a little bit, and hopefully kind of make you smile or make you laugh with some of my stories and traditions. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for being here. I have one more podcast episode for you that's going to come before the year is over. So I will see you then. I love you guys. Thank you for your support as always. To those of you who celebrate, I hope you have a great holiday season, whatever it is that you celebrate. I hope you're able to spend it with people that you love. If you're at work, because I have been there, just know that you are doing a really good service, because that means that your job is essential. It's something that we need regardless of whether it's a holiday or a weekend or whatever. So I applaud you and I respect you, and I hope that after you're done with work, you get to enjoy a little bit. And I'm going to stop rambling now. So thank you for being here for this episode of The Walk, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.